Every year, Americans spend over $15 billion on antacids and acid-blocking PPIs, attempting to silence a digestive system that is screaming for help. But what if the very sensation we've been trained to avoid, the sharp, unpleasant, cringeworthy punch of bitterness, is the only thing that can actually fix it? In the modern supermarket, bitterness has been systematically murdered. Big Food has spent decades sweetening our palate, replacing ancestral wisdom with high-fructose corn syrup because bitter doesn't sell. Yet science reveals a shocking irony. Your body is literally covered in T2R bitter receptors, not just on your tongue, but in your gut, your lungs, and your liver. They are the on switch for your entire metabolic engine. While you are paying $50 for a bottle of synthetic digestive enzymes or chemical tablets that merely mask the symptoms, a simple $2 jar of fermented dandelion roots or a traditional Oxymel could trigger a biological cascade that no pill can replicate. You are being sold a lifetime of comfort while your natural digestive fire is being extinguished. Today, we are exhumed the forgotten medicine of the bitter forest to reclaim the health they took off your plate. Welcome to the autopsy of the modern palate. To understand why our health is failing, we must first look at the calculated disappearance of a specific flavor profile from our modern diet. If you walk into any major supermarket today, from London to New York, you are entering a curated environment designed by flavor chemists to exploit your evolutionary biology. Human survival once depended on the ability to detect bitterness. It was our internal radar for alkaloids and potential toxins. But as we transition into the era of industrial food, big food companies realize something profitable. Bitterness is the enemy of consumption volume. The industry embarked on a decades-long mission to sweeten the global palate. They didn't just add sugar, they selectively bred the bitterness out of our vegetables. Modern kale is milder, Brussels sprouts have lost their pungent, sulfurous bite, and grapefruit has been engineered to be sweeter. This isn't an accident. It is a systematic palate cleansing that has effectively neutered our digestive intelligence. We have been conditioned to believe that if it's bitter, it's bad, or at the very least, unpleasant. But this sweet deception comes at a staggering biological cost. By removing bitter compounds, the tannins, the phenols, and the alkaloids, the food industry has stripped away the very chemical triggers that tell our bodies to prepare for digestion. We live in a world of pre-digested convenience, where food is so soft, so sweet, and so processed that our stomach acid remains dormant, our gallbladder remains sluggish, and our liver never receives the signal to flush out toxins. The commercial illusion is that we can replace this missing biological dialogue with gut health gummies or fiber-infused snacks. We see a $150 billion wellness industry selling us the solution to a problem they helped create by deodorizing our diet. The irony is profound. While we chase the next superfood trend, the most potent medicinal compounds are being discarded in the trash because they don't fit the sweet and salty profit model. We have traded our ancestral resilience for a sugary sedation, and our digestive systems are paying the ultimate price in a state of permanent, confused silence. This is the first layer of the deception. We didn't just lose a taste. We lost the primary ignition switch for our metabolism. The $15 billion we spend on antacids and proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, is the monument to a massive biological misunderstanding. The marketing narrative is simple. You have too much acid, so we must neutralize it. But for a significant portion of the population, the burning sensation of reflux or the heaviness of indigestion isn't caused by an excess of stomach acid. It's caused by a lack of it. When your stomach acid is too weak, the esophageal sphincter doesn't close properly, and food sits rotting in your gut, fermenting and creating gas that forces acid upward. This is where the antacid trap becomes a dangerous cycle. By taking these pills, you further dilute your digestive fire, making it impossible to break down proteins or absorb B12 and magnesium. You are treating a fire by removing the water. Contrast this with the bitter reflex, a masterpiece of human evolution. The moment a bitter molecule touches the T2R receptors on the back of your tongue, a neurological fast-track signal is sent to the brain. This is the cephalic phase of digestion. Before the food even hits your stomach, The bitter signal triggers the vagus nerve to stimulate the production of gastrin. This in turn tells your stomach to secrete hydrochloric acid, your gallbladder to release bile to break down fats, and your pancreas to pump out digestive enzymes. The industrial solution is a chemical mute button that silences the symptoms while the underlying engine rusts. The traditional solution, the bitter solution, is an ignition switch. When you consume a bitter herb before a meal, you aren't just eating. You are performing a biological rehearsal. You are preparing the terrain. The industry sells you digestive enzymes in a plastic bottle for $40, enzymes that are often rendered inactive by the time they reach your gut. Meanwhile, a single drop of a bitter tincture or a bite of a wild dandelion leaf provides the exact chemical code your body needs to manufacture its own enzymes for free. We have been sold the lie that our bodies are broken and need external chemistry to function, when in reality, we have simply forgotten how to speak the language of bitterness. By choosing the pill over the herb, we aren't just wasting money, we are outsourcing our most vital biological functions to a corporation that profits from our permanent state of indigestion. This is the shocking contradiction. We pay to suppress the very symptoms that a distasteful plant could solve by simply waking up our innate intelligence. For decades, we believed taste buds were only for pleasure. Science has now shattered that illusion. We've discovered T2R receptors, specialized proteins that detect bitterness, not just on the tongue, but throughout the entire human body. This is where the commercial wellness industry loses its footing. When you swallow a sugar-coated gut health pill, you bypass the most critical sensory network in your biology. In the gut, these T2R receptors act as metabolic gatekeepers. When they sense bitter compounds, they trigger the release of GLP-1, the very same hormone that billion-dollar weight loss drugs like Ozempic try to mimic synthetically. Bitterness naturally regulates insulin and suppresses appetite. Furthermore, science shows that bitter herbs stimulate the bitter-induced airway smooth muscle relaxation in the lungs and enhance the innate immune response in the upper respiratory tract. The industry wants you to believe that bioavailability is something only a lab can achieve. They sell you liposomal delivery systems to get nutrients past your defenses. But the T2R system is the body's natural delivery network. By engaging these receptors, you aren't just digesting. You are communicating with your DNA to increase bile flow in phase 2 liver detoxification. We are paying for synthetic shortcuts while ignoring the high-speed biological fiber optic network already built into our cells. The death of bitter herbs isn't just a loss of flavor. It's a disconnection from the primary chemical language that keeps our internal organs synchronized. History reveals that what we now call digestive issues were once managed with a simple bitter ritual. Before the era of laboratory-made chemicals, every culture had its elixir of life, and almost all of them were bitter. In Europe, the aperitif tradition wasn't about social drinking. It was medical. Spirits infused with gentian root, wormwood, and angelica were consumed before meals to open the digestive fire. The most profound lost remedy is the Oxymel, a Greco-Roman alchemy of raw honey, apple cider vinegar, and bitter herbs. Hippocrates himself prescribed it. The honey provided the enzymes, the vinegar provided the acetic acid, and the herbs provided the bitter trigger. It was a complete digestive system in a jar, costing pennies. The Industrial Revolution replaced these living tonics with sterile, sugar-laden health drinks. They took the bitter herbs, stripped away the living ferments, and sold us back the active ingredient in a dead expensive capsule. We have traded a 2,000-year-old lineage of kitchen alchemy for a monthly subscription to a pharmaceutical illusion. We didn't just lose the recipe, we lost the autonomy to heal ourselves using the weeds growing in our own backyards. Reclaiming your digestive autonomy doesn't require a pharmacy. It requires a jar and a bit of patience. The most effective way to reintroduce bitterness is through a DIY Oxymel. By infusing bitter roots like dandelion or burdock into a mixture of raw apple cider vinegar and honey for 2 weeks, you create a living tonic that bypasses the supplement industry entirely. Take 5-10 drops on your tongue 15 minutes before a meal. This isn't just about nutrition. It's about signaling. You are retraining your T2R receptors to recognize the bitter code. Within days, the reliance on antacids often diminishes as your natural hydrochloric acid levels stabilize. However, nature's medicine is potent. Caution is mandatory. Those with active stomach ulcers, acute gallbladder inflammation, or large gallstones must avoid intense bitters, as the sudden increase in digestive juices can cause distress. For everyone else, this is the exit ramp from the industrial food trap. You are moving from a consumer of health products to a practitioner of health wisdom. The power returns to your kitchen where it has always belonged. We live in a world that has been artificially softened, sweetened, and deodorized. By systematically removing bitterness from our diet, the industrial food complex didn't just change our taste buds, it dismantled our biological resilience. They sold us the comfort of sweet convenience, only to sell us the cure in a plastic bottle when our systems inevitably stalled. The death of bitter herbs is a metaphor for the modern human condition. We flee from discomfort, only to find ourselves weakened by the very things that were supposed to make life easier. But as we've seen, the solution isn't found in a laboratory or a $150 billion supplement industry. It's found in the weeds we've been taught to spray with poison and the traditional kitchen rituals we've been told to forget. Choosing bitterness is an act of rebellion. It is a decision to stop outsourcing your health to corporations and to start listening to the ancient chemical dialogue between plants and your cells. The next time you feel that sharp, pungent, and unpleasant bite of a bitter herb, don't recoil. Recognize it for what it truly is, the sound of your body waking up. If you're ready to stop being a passive consumer and start becoming a practitioner of your own health, subscribe and join us as we continue to decode the forgotten wisdom of the natural world. Rethink your convenience, question the sweetness, and perhaps start embracing the bitter truth.